Hey guys, how's it going everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gents, welcome to... I gotta contain myself. I gotta contain myself for this video because honestly, I am beyond stoked to finally be able to share this with you guys. So first of all, I want to thank you guys because without your support, without you guys watching the videos and supporting the videos and so on and so forth, I would not have had the chance to actually do something as cool as this. But if you don't know, LEGO DC Supervillains is a game that is going to go on ahead and come out on October 16th, but the main idea behind it is that in this game you get to create your own villains, and as you create your own villains, you go on ahead and play as those villains through the game, and then you attain different abilities and so on and so forth. And essentially, the lovely folks over at WB Games, or Warner Brother Games, and I guess Traveler's Tales as well, reached out to me about a little over a month ago, and they asked me like, hey, would you want to be involved in this in some way, shape, or form? And I was like, absolutely. And then they came up with this really cool idea of essentially there is pre-made customs for certain heroes. So like you could pick and select certain pre-selected characters, and they asked me like, hey, would you want to be involved in designing one of these characters? And I was like, absolutely. So they had me actually design two different characters, and the cool thing is that it ended up that both of them are going to be included in the game. So I'm super duper stoked to go on ahead and finally share this with you guys. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the customizer itself because I had such an awesome time with it. Unfortunately, I did not have access to all the different pieces because obviously certain things were still locked. Like you can see like right there, lip color and eyeshadow. So there were some elements that were not available to me quite yet. But the point is that I was absolutely blown away by the customizer itself. So I want to go on ahead and discuss that. But in addition to that, before we even get to that, I want to again thank you guys for the support on the channel, and I hope that you guys enjoy the characters that I came up with. I know what you're gonna say, hey Blitz, why don't you just design someone that looks exactly like you, or a character that looks like the Blitzbot? Well, there was some obviously kind of stipulations and regulations as to what I could design and could not design and so on and so forth. So again, I want to keep that in mind, that I tried to go on ahead and make something that would be unique, cool, and I did still bring in some elements that I think are going to be somewhat Blitzwinger recognizable. So with that in mind, of course, I hope that you guys enjoy this. Let's go on ahead and dive into this. You can see right off the bat just how much more extensive the customizer itself is, and you can see that this is basically the beginning of the game. Like right as you start up the game, you can go on ahead and see that the introduction there is that you see your character brought into Arkham with Commissioner Gordon, and then this is the process of you then putting together your character. So the cool thing is that we're going to be able to finally stack pieces. So you saw there I picked like the initial headpiece, the one that I have, and then you're able to stack things on top of that using the goggles or glasses or accessories, I guess is the actual title there, for your character. So you can add onto the character and build forwards and onto the character that you've already designed. And that was exceptionally cool. Like I got to mess around with it a little bit furthermore, and I was really blown away by how much we're going to be able to do with this. Like I'm so stoked. I cannot wait till the game is out so that I could just unlock everything and then just mess around and see what kind of characters I could come up with, because I genuinely think we're going to be able to quite possibly design and add whatever characters we want into this game. Like look at this. There's some crazy pieces that are added here. And as you can see, those pieces, all of them there, the ones that we have right now here on the neck pieces, they can all be recolored. So no longer are we stuck with just like, hey, it's great, I could have the crocodile mouth like under the character, but it has to be green. This is not the case for this game. You can go on ahead and recolor it whatever way you want. Now, the other thing I will say, because I know somebody's going to ask this and somebody's going to mention this, like, hey, Blitz, so is this sponsored or were you paid, blah, blah, blah. No, this is literally just a really cool opportunity that they allowed me to participate in, but in no way, shape, or form is this video sponsored or anything like that. And you guys know that if there was something that I were unhappy with, or something where I was like, I thought that was kind of lame or something along those lines, I would point it out. I really did not see much to complain about because again, my experience with the game was still somewhat limited. Like it wasn't that I again had access to the full game or played the entire game or anything like that. So you have to keep that in mind, that within the variables that were available, this is what I'm reflecting on. So I'm not going to talk about anything like as far as the story or the fighting or anything like that, just because that experience was so minimal that I don't want to talk about it, because I feel like then I'd be lying and telling you guys something that wasn't really true. So my experience was mostly with the customizer, and that side of things was really cool. So you can see that, first of all, for example, the cape pieces, we have quite a few more of them this time around, so there's a little bit more variation. Like, there's a lot of really cool, unique ones, and then you can see that there's going to be a bunch of them that are actually locked as well. So again, I didn't get to look through all of these ones because these are character-specific capes, so I'm sure that maybe one or two of those are like Calendar Man and characters like that. So these look to be a little bit more specific to certain characters, and because you don't have the entire character roster unlocked at the beginning of the game, I unfortunately did not have access to all of those right off the bat. So again, that's perfectly fine. Some of them looked a little bit weird, like this cape there. I don't know how I feel about that one, but I really do like the design of this one. I think that it looks pretty cool. So the cool thing is that you'll notice is that there's actually multiple colors for certain cape pieces. So this cape right here has two different color variations. So you have the exact same duplicate colors on each side, you can see, and color 1 colors the inside of the cape, and then color 2 goes on ahead and colors the exterior part of the cape, which I'm not going to lie, it took me like a hot second to figure out, because I was like, wait, so what controls what? And that's why I was a little bit frazzled, like, okay, wait, so how do I change the colors in a way where I understand what's going on? So it was a little bit of a process, but once I got a handle on it, I was super duper stoked with the results, because again, the more control you have over the design process, the better job you can do. So previously, for example, in other Lego games, when we had capes, most of the time it was one color, and even if it was two colors, quote unquote, you didn't really control one of those two colors. So if, let's say, the cape had like a outline or like a stroke outline around the cape in white, you could only change the interior color. Like, you could change it like to be like red or blue, and then it would always have a white outline. Here we have way more control, and that means that we're going to be able to do a better job. Like, there are certain characters, you know, where they have the exterior of the cape is one color, but then the interior of the cape is different. So it's really cool that now you'll be able to do those types of things as you build your own design, or you end up like going like, hey, I want to build something from somewhere else. You could go on ahead and do a better job at creating a replica or a custom that looks exactly like that character, because you have way more control over the process. So let's move on to the hair pieces here, where you can see there's an insane amount of hair pieces this time around, way more than before, especially because a lot of times the previous hair pieces that we've gotten, they weren't really how do I say it? Like, a lot of them were really cool. Like, a lot of the cool hair pieces that we got in other Lego games, they were stuck with one color. Now we have way more variation, which is super duper cool to see. So then we have the arms here. Again, arms are kind of similar to what we've seen before, but the cool thing is that now you can recolor a lot of them, whereas previous designs in other Lego games, like, look at all these locked ones, man. I was so hopeful I would get to see all of these, but obviously, like, once you have these unlocked, imagine how much more you can do. And you could recolor, like, you could see the color wheel over every one of those arms there. So any one of the pieces that has the color wheel on it, that means you can recolor them to any other color on the selection, which is just super insane. Like, look at how many variations you could do. Like, even with the Riddler arms there, you could turn Riddler red and be like, hey, I'm going to do a red costume for Riddler. Or heck, just use a new character that has like cool question mark patterns on their arms. So I think you could really, really, really get some cool stuff going with this particular design. So then we have the helmet pieces. Again, in the previous games, anytime we had the cool helmet pieces, like stuff that was very unique, like the, I don't know, like, let's say that serpent helmet right there, the snake one, that would be something that we would not be able to actually go on ahead and recolor most of the time. In other Lego games, it was like, well, that piece is just going to be yellow and that's how it is. And if you want to use it, that's the way you're going to have to use it. Now, that's not the case. We can literally go in and recolor that to any color on this color wheel, which is super duper cool and very, very exciting, because again, it sets up so many awesome possibilities for what we may be able to come up with as we get through the game and build stuff furthermore. So let's go on ahead and take a look at the body pieces. You'll notice that the cool thing is that the body pieces, similarly, sorry, to the head pieces this time around, you have the core piece, and then there's decals that you put on top of that. So that means that you have your basic torso design, so you pick whatever design you want, and then to stamp onto that, you can go on ahead and stamp, you can see obviously numbers here, or another decal, and as you unlock other decals, you could go on ahead and stick more and more patterns and designs and things onto the character. So if like you want like, hey, I'm going to put a bat symbol on there, you could do that, or any one of the other decals that were available. I will say that maybe, now that I'm looking back at it again, maybe it could be more decals, but again, because a lot of them were locked, it's kind of difficult to make a judgment call on, is there enough torso pieces? I would imagine there are enough, but it's just really, really tough to say right now because, again, I didn't see everything unlocked. There were so many things that were behind that little like lock thing that I can't really make a judgment call at this point in time. So once I have the full game, I'll be able to go on ahead and talk about that more extensively and tell you guys like, hey, I think this was good or this was bad and so on and so forth, and sort of reflect on it that way. Because again, there's a variation of body torsos here as well, or body pieces, sorry. So because of that, it'll be interesting to see at the end of the day what we are able to put together once we have everything unlocked instead of just some items unlocked. So again, the cool thing is that the body torsos or the body pieces, you can go on ahead and recolor as well. So you could have the body piece be one color, as you see here, and then the lines on the body another color, and then on top of that, of course, you put the decal, which could be a different color as well. So we're getting like really, really far more control over the design process, because previously it was like, okay, if you pick the body torso, most of the time it was non-recolorable at all. Now, some LEGO games made it possible to recolor body torsos, but they were so kind of like they lacked detail. I think in LEGO Marvel, was it Avengers or Marvel Superheroes 1, you could recolor a little bit more extensively, but the point is that it was still not as controllable as it is here. Like, this is by far, like, I haven't played every LEGO game, but I've played most of them, and I will say that this is by far, even with all the stuff that is still locked, this is by far the most complete customizer we've gotten. Like, this is the most amount of control that you have over trying to build your own unique character that we have gotten up until this point. Like, I personally, I don't recall there being any other LEGO game where I was like, oh, okay, no, that one was better, or that one offered more control over how I'm going to make the character look and everything like that. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised that this customizer was just as good as the customization trailer made it out to be. And again, I hope it'll be even better once I have all the pieces unlocked, because I think once I have control over recustomizing things more, I could do even a better job with some character designs. Because again, like here you could see I was selecting from like what, 7 pieces of different leg pieces, so that's not really a lot. Or sorry, what is that, like 6 and then 2 up top, so not as much as I would hope. But look at this, like you can literally just scroll and scroll and you can see the color wheel almost on every single one of those leg pieces. So imagine that, like every one of those you take, you recolor. And then don't forget, guys, you can go on ahead and select 2 different leg pieces. So you can recolor the leg pieces, mix and match, try to come up with like asymmetrical designs where one leg piece is this design or pattern, then another leg piece is a completely different design and pattern. So you could just constantly evolve that and change that up. So I think that that's insanely, insanely cool that we're going to have that much variation of different controls and different customization elements for this game. So I am so stoked. Like, honestly, I'm re-looking back at this footage because I'm obviously commentating post building the character, and I am honestly bewildered by how much is still locked, because I'm like, I did a pretty decent job. Like, I'm quite happy with the character that I managed to go on ahead and put together. But I think to myself, like, but imagine if I had all those other pieces. Like, I'm like, holy, you could do so much cool stuff. And you can see I was trying to see like, oh, okay, maybe go with like an asymmetrical design. And then it was bothering me because I was like, that's not looking very good. And I had to go back to keeping the pattern the same because I thought that it looks better that way. Now, we do have the hip piece here still remaining that needs adjusting. So we're going to go on ahead and see what it looks like once we readjust the colors here, maybe to try to match that as a green Because, of course, the motif for this character was pretty much red and green for the most part, as you could see. So that was kind of the idea behind it. And I think that it turned out pretty sweet overall. So that's a pretty cool looking mohawk. Or is that a mohawk or is that a faux hawk? I always forget which hairstyle it is. But either way, now we move on to the other elements of the character, which are going to be the effect parts, which is, again, when I started designing this, I was like, whoa, this is really cool too, because you can go on ahead and change and have basically kind of like different superpowers around your character. But then in addition to that, you can recolor them. So in the previous LEGO games, like in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2, we could actually go on ahead and, let's say, create a laser beam from the eyes or from the arms for the character, or even from the chest. But it was activated by the button prompt. Whereas here, your character will just have this really cool, like, effect part going, and his arms are going to be glowing, her arms are going to be glowing. And I think that that's so cool that we're now able to even do things like this. So like if you build, like, I don't know, you're like, hey, I want to design my own variation of Black Adam, and you know how Black Adam usually has like static around him, you can do that now. So I think that that's really cool that you're able to go on ahead and add custom effects to the character this way. Now again, obviously, this was my first impression with the game, so even me looking back right now, I'm like, I've already got about 1,000 ideas of what I'm gonna do, like different character designs and different effect parts and mixing and matching things. And as you saw there too, the cool thing is that you could have a different custom effect on each arm, so you don't have to be like, okay, well, if I chose this color, it's gonna be stuck, or this design even, it's gonna be stuck to both arms. You could have one effect part on one hand with one color, and then the other hand could be a different effect part with a different color. So I think that's really, really cool. Then these are your jump slam effects. So this is when your character jumps and attacks the ground. Basically the effect that they would go on ahead and affect the ground. So if you've ever played a LEGO game, you'd know exactly what that means. I guess that would have been kind of nice if they had demoed it there, now that I think about it. Now, the personality traits is quite similar to LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2 Customizer, where you basically can select the heart color for your character, so you can go on ahead and adjust that as far as like the actual health bar. Health type refers to, of course, invincibility or not, I would assume. You have a lot of voices here, like a lot. It's insane how many voices, because I think in the other LEGO games, I think we had, what, 8 or something like that, or 10? But this is like, what is that? 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 30 voices. Holy moly, that is insane. That is bananas. That is a lot. That is a lot of voices. So you have a lot of voice variations for the characters here. And I think that's pretty cool, again, because if you want to have your character be a little bit more unique. And some of these are like robotic and stuff. So like, it's very cool that they're not just human, so to speak. So I think that that's really, really cool that they actually went ahead and included some of those elements here as well. Because again, they could have, this is somewhat of a feature that could have been like a throwaway, but I really love that they actually did pay attention to that. Look at that really super fast effect that your character gets. So you have your regular running animation and then the other one with the lightning effects, which just looks really, really sweet. Then we have our target reticles here, which I hope there's more than this, because I feel like this is a little bit spare. Like, it feels like there's not quite as many as I would expect as far as the selection here is concerned. So it would be kind of cool if there was a little bit more than what we see here. But again, it's one of those things that is probably not super duper necessary to have a lot of anyways. We do have really cool animation poses for the character, so it's kind of like the standard, I would even describe it as kind of like your idle animation for your character. You can go on ahead and even choose that. And they do have specific titles like martial artist and so on and so forth. So that's very cool that you can actually go on ahead and control what your character will just stand around like. So I think that that's pretty neat as well. So either way, as we get closer towards the wrap up of the character, first of all, let me know if you guys are going to play as this character, because I think it would be really, really cool if many of you guys actually used it, and then tweet me or Instagram hashtag me to show me that you guys went ahead and chose this preset as your character that you're going to go on ahead and play. And then in addition to that, guys, I do really hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you guys are interested in seeing the other character, I'll make a separate video on that as well, because I did design another character for the preset, so make sure you check that out as well. well. I'm super duper stoked about that one as well. And I will upload my first impressions of the level that I played through, which was quite a bit of fun as well. Don't forget, guys, I want to hear your opinions and thoughts down in the comment section below on the character design and the customizer itself. That's what I'm really curious about as well, because again, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Do you think the customizer really is as good as I think it is? Because for me personally, I think this is a huge step forward. I know people are going to obviously always nitpick and find the things that are wrong with it, and I think that that's fair because we should always strive to improve and so on and so forth. But I just think that when we compare this to everything we've gotten before, this is such a huge leap forward in terms of what we can do in a Lego customizer that it just has me so excited about, like, what if this is like going to be the new standard now? What is coming next? Like, whatever is going to be after this is like, I don't even know what they're going to do, but either way, I'm sure that it will be fantastic and it will be an absolute blast to go on ahead and see this customizer now evolve forward. And again, I didn't even get to play with the entire customizer because a lot of the elements were still locked. So as you complete the game and you unlock all the different customization pieces, imagine how much more control over your designs you have and how much more you can do to make your character look unique and different and fit your own personal personality style or design style or whatever it is that you like best about your heroes, or in this case, I guess, your villains. So with that all in mind, ladies and gents, thank you so very much for watching this absolutely fantastically awesome video. I'm super duper stoked about it. I'm really excited to go on ahead and see how many of you guys will get the chance to go on ahead and play as this character. It's obviously going to be called a preset, I think, or something like that, not Blitz, even though that would have been awesome. I'll hopefully catch you guys here next time. Peace out. I'll see you all later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone. Woo! It's looking pretty awesome.